All right, hold. Let me. I have 558 on my computer. That's what I'm saying. Hold on. Hello, 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 everybody.
Hello, how's everybody this evening?
Hello. How's everyone doing? Ladies and gentlemen, we're here today. We're deviating a little bit away from the show. Let's introduce everybody first. I'm Melvin Bethia.
I'm Nancy McCauley, aka Nuji.
I'm Cousin Skip, Juan Levante Nicholson.
And today we're going to be talking about our main subject that we were always going to talk about was going to be cultural and ethical appropriations. I believe that's what it is.
Cultural and ethnic appropriations.
Cultural and ethic appropriations. You know, we're going to get to that, but we found that we had a hotter subject that was out there, and that was the mass shooting that was in Colorado. And we want some of the callers to call in to 202-227-6500 because we want to know have we gone numb to these mass shootings? We have mass shootings in movie theaters, we have them in schools, now we have them in malls, and we have a lot of different questions about it. So we want to give this just a little bit of time as we go through, and we'll get back to the other subject at hand, the one we advertised about. But since we had this going on, and this is a very very hot subject and a very true subject, and it may not be near and dear to you, but it could be near and dear to somebody that you may know later on down the line. So we'll see.
Okay. All right, Cousin Skip, what do you think about what's going on? I mean, we've had, what, 2 in less than a week?
Well, actually, and this may not be the total, we've had 7 shootings since the shootings at the spa. The other ones were the kind of shootings that aren't going to be broadcast nationally because they are the kinds of shootings that take place routinely in those particular communities. Ones on the 16th where all of the Asians got shot up is because that's what's trending now, the abuse of the Asian community. And the one at the super, what is it? The King Supers Market. Where, there are 11. Well, he's being charged with 10 homicides, 10 murders, and that's including the shooting of the police officer. That one is being broadcast across the country because it is talking or addressing not particularly any ethnic group violence per se, but it's more about gun violence and what needs to be done about gun control.
Well, being a card-carrying member of the NRA myself, and I have no problem with admitting it. I have no problem with saying I think that everybody in America should have a gun. I mean, you need to. But I think that the thing that bothers me the most about it is that all these murders that took place over the you said it was 7 of them, Cousin Skip?
There were seven. There were 7 over the span of 7 days.
Okay, with those 7 days, pretty much all those suspects were brought in. And my thing about it is that, when you're white, you can go out and do a mass murder and, kill up people in a church and you'll get a hamburger and then they'll take you to jail. But you can be black driving in a car and tell the officer you have a license for your gun and still get shot and killed. Or you can just be driving and they can just pull you over and they can just shoot you, they can just kill you. But these mass murderers, like this guy, he had a weapon in his car after he killed those Korean or Chinese people, and he still was afforded the opportunity to come in and have his day in court. So that's what I don't understand, is that the police will hold court in the street when it comes down to you when you're black. But when you're white, you get your opportunity to go and get your lawyer and get lawyered up and the whole 9 yards. So I'm not understanding.
Yeah, it's like Kyle Rittenhouse that was walking down the street with a rifle. Police went right past him when he shot during the George Floyd and the protests and all that. He walked right by the police. Nobody stopped him. Nobody questioned anything. I think, and you guys tell me what you think. I know what you guys think probably. There's a great disparity, between. It's like, okay, you got to be licensed. They want you to be licensed. But even licensed, some of us are still suspects.
Sure.
Whether licensed or not licensed, which
sure.
It's an amazing bias that I don't understand how people don't see it. And it's not pulling a race card. It's factual. Mm-hmm. It's documented. It's factual. So I don't know. I think Mel asked the question, are we getting numb? I think some of us aren't getting numb, but I think the communities that are disenfranchised are getting sick and tired.
I think it's suffice to say that we know that disparities exist the way police deal with the African American community and other mm-hmm. communities at large.
Let's just say other white people. How they deal with white people. They're going to come up to a white person and be very, 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 very respectful with them. With us, they're going to come up to us with an attitude. Are they going to come up to us? And as soon as a white person says that they know their rights, the officers back down. But when a black person says that they know their rights, the officer beefs it up more. He wants more. He feels like, oh, you know your rights, so yada 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 yada. You get all of that. You know what I mean? But I tell young people all the time, you cannot beat a cop in the street, but you can beat him in a courtroom. You cannot beat him in the street, but you can beat him in a courtroom. You can take their pension away from him. You can take their job away from him. You can take his livelihood away from him. You can leave him broke. And that's the worst feeling than getting shot almost sometimes.
So Mel, let me ask you a question. So, and I get your point about you can't beat him in the streets, but you can beat him in the courtroom. But in times past, we haven't beat him in the courtroom. In times past, they've gone, they've been let go. They've not have charges brought against them. So I get your point that the goal is to get home, right? The goal is to get home and then take up legal matters. That's if you have an attorney. But I think it's discouraging because people see like Philando Castile, who gets shot, card carrying, licensed gunman. Nothing happened. I mean, it's just like nothing. I don't know. It's frustrating because it appears that nothing happens.
Now this is a question I want to ask you guys, and maybe Skip, you can put some light on this for me. I think this happened maybe about 10 months ago, and it happened in either Dallas or either New York. The cops were sitting in a car, and somebody came up with a gun and shot the cop.
I heard that. Mm-hmm.
And I had told my mom, because I come I come from a cop family, and I used to work in law enforcement. And I told her, I said, I'm having a hard time really feeling sorry for those cops, and I'm having a hard time feeling sorry for their families. Because I'm thinking to myself, who ass did they put their foot in to get this type? Because I believe karma comes quick. So who did you wrong, or who did you do wrong for somebody to come up to you with a gun and just blow you away just like that? You know what I mean?
But the thing about that is, though, and I get your point. However, there's a lot of cops. There's a lot of good cops. Let me say that. And I think what's happening is the bad apples of the bunch are getting the highlight, and they're making it bad for every cop out there. So whether whether you one of them crazy off the chain cops or not, you could be like those two cops in that car. They could have not been part of that quote unquote group, but because they represent law enforcement and people are angry with law enforcement, unfortunately, they took the hit. So for me, I'm gonna be empathetic. I'm gonna feel sorry for the family and for those cops, because at the end of the day, that's somebody's mom, dad, brother, sister. So, but I get your point. I get your point. But I don't think I could, for me, be cold, turn that way and be cold. So that's just me, though.
I think karma, like many other things in life, are fickle. You know, the people the people that really should have karma come along and kick them in their behinds typically don't. Okay, otherwise, some of those people who are doing dirt to everybody might think twice before they behave this way as a general way of behavior. I don't think that all cops are bad. However, I do agree that the law is applied a lot differently to Black people than it is to any other group of folks. And these are just things that we know. And to comment on your point about you think everybody should have a gun, well, you know, I don't think everybody should have a gun, because during the times that you probably wished you would be able to get to your gun, you're probably not going to be able to access it at the very moment that you need it. That's another conversation, you know. I'm afraid enough of police who should not have guns having them. I damn sure don't want
civilians
of any kind or another walking around with guns at their disposal. That license to carry and license to shoot people, this, you know, that's a very muddy area to get into.
And to stand your ground, that's muddy too.
Yeah, that's stand your ground. But yes, everybody has a right to defend themselves. But everybody does not have the mental capacity, once they get a gun, to carry that gun and use it for the right reasons.
And I think a lot of times, there are people that should not carry a gun, and the gun gives them that courage that they didn't have prior to carrying the gun. You know, kind
of like drinking liquor. The same thing. You take a couple of drinks and you're able to say what you really want to say that you wouldn't say when you were sober. So I get it. Yeah.
Because the other thing is, remember the lady that I think was being abused by her husband, and she shot the gun in the air? And I think she shot it, I think it was in the air, and because there were people around, I think it was in Texas, she got jailed.
Yeah, she got like 20 years or something, didn't she?
Yeah, she got some ridiculous amount. But that Rittenhouse little boy, he's still hanging out. Like everything's everything.
So, question with the gun control situation, being a card carrying NRA members, do all NRA members are they all against gun control?
No. It's just that there's enough laws on the books that you can enforce them. And if you enforce them correctly, you won't have the problem that we're having now. But people have to realize when it comes down to guns, people in America aren't going to give up their guns. They're not going to be like the Jews were when they gave up their guns when Hitler got voted into office. And remember, Hitler didn't take over a country. He got voted in. And once he got voted in, he told everybody to give up their guns. And once they gave up their guns, they gave up everything. And once they gave up everything, he took over. He started, building prisons, putting them in ovens, doing all other types of other stuff to them. So that's why they said never ever again will that happen again. And America would probably do the same thing if the elite felt that they can get away with it. They would cleanly do it.
They would start doing what?
They would probably start taking advantage of the poor and those who really can't defend themselves.
So what are some of the gun laws that they're not being implemented?
Some of them are like when you go to trade shows, a lot of trade shows that you go to, you don't have to be some of them you don't have to be a part of that particular state. You can just buy a gun. Like a lot of guns that wind up in that are in DC, they come from Virginia. Most of the guns that come from
Virginia.
they come from Virginia. Yeah, they do. And the guns that come from that's in New York City, they come from Jersey. So I mean, it's just it just trickles on down. And down here in the South where I'm at, everybody seems to have a gun. There's nobody.
It's an open carry state, right?
Yeah, where I'm at is open carry state. But I find that even in open carry state, I'm not that scared that I feel that I need a gun. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel that my life is that much under threat that I need a gun. And I think the gun brings on more bad karma than it does good karma. You know what I mean?
I'm trying to understand what laws are already in place that are not being implemented. Because
the laws that where you live, you're supposed to register that gun where you live.
But what about the laws that prevent people from getting guns that should not have guns? Like I know that there was some opposition against mental screening.
How are you to say that they're not to have guns? If you don't have a criminal record and you don't have any mental problems or anything like that, I've never been mentally locked away, you can have a gun.
No, because the thing about it is, if they don't ask the questions, how would you know somebody didn't have any mental issues? And will somebody tell you the truth? Do a background check. Background check will pull their records. I can't go because you said I ain't never been locked up. Somebody else might think you're crazy. Might think I'm crazy.
They're going to, before they sell you the gun, they're going to do a background check on you.
But not everybody does. That's part of the problem. But
the majority of the states, and I know for Maryland, Maryland State Police, they do a whole background check on you. Everything. Mm-hmm. They send to the FBI. You go through the whole 9 yards when you're doing it. So.
But that's not uniform, right? I mean, or is it uniform throughout all 50 states?
No, it's not uniform. And Virginia is one of the, and Virginia, Florida is one of the loosest states when it comes down to guns.
Yeah.
They're one of the loosest states they are.
So why don't they, I mean, if it's not implemented across the board, that means some states require background checks, some don't. So then you have people in some of these states that they don't need to do a background check. They go hunting, so they already got rifles or whatever. Now they're shooting up people. And then people that are gun owners, they don't want, I think that people think when people say gun reform, they automatically think people are trying to take your guns. I don't look at it as taking your guns. We need to reform the laws because like what Maryland does, I think that's thorough. But if everybody's not doing it, we have all these gaps and holes where people have access. And was it Kyle Rittenhouse that drove from a whole nother state with his gun to another state and killed somebody? He was what, 17, 16 or something crazy?
Right.
But Dylan Roth. But
But when you got gun lobbyists on Capitol Hill that are renting those $30,000 and $40,000 suites per month, and they're supposed to go up to Capitol Hill each day, like they do, with their briefcases and their penny loafers, and they talking to all the state people about, yeah, we'll donate, yeah, the NRA will donate to you 100,000 to your campaign or 200,000 to your campaign, or we'll just finance it all. We just need you to keep this law in place. So
see, but that's the problem. That's the problem. I mean, you follow the money, unfortunately.
We already know that that's a problem with politicians, and it doesn't matter what the thing is that they're selling their souls for, you know.
Yeah,
but,
very true.
But when talking about gun control and gun laws, nobody should be able to walk into a store today and say, I want that AR-15 up there. How much is it? And walk out of the store with it. That should not happen.
They shouldn't be able to go on Walmart.
Nobody needs a gun that urgently. And especially.
And why do you need an assault rifle?
Right.
And why do you need an assault rifle? You know what I'm saying? And I will say this, I gotta fact check myself. Most people that are card carrying members having guns are not the ones doing mass shootings.
Right.
For the most part.
Right.
It's people that aren't licensed that are doing the shooting.
But when you get these people like on January 6th, that's when you really begin to fear the ease at which people are able to buy and carry guns, because that's just a very short trip from going shooting black people in the street. Okay, that's a very short dance.
And you know what, that takes me to a whole nother level. Why didn't anybody get shot? Nobody got shot. Nobody got shot. Killed.
One person got shot.
Okay, one person got shot out of all thousands of people that were.
Are you talking about the assailant? Are you talking about the assailant? Out of all the assailants, nobody got shot. Is that what you're talking about?
Right. The police got orders for them to stand down. I'm just like, really?
Yeah, that's mind blowing.
Right, because if it was a whole bunch of Haitians going up in there, a whole bunch of blacks going up in there, we know it would have been a whole different scenario. They would have found some backup. We wouldn't have had time to grab no flagpole and beat the police out, grab them by the gas mask, or none of that. So these people got privilege.
Well, I think it's safe to say, whether people agree with it or not, a lot of times Black and brown people's very presence is a threat, whether they're carrying a gun or not carrying a gun. So I don't know. So listen, callers, call in and let us know what you think about the topic and what's your thoughts on the topic. We can be reached at 202-227-6500. We're live streaming on YouTube and Facebook and also Twitch under the name Melon Nuji with Cousin Skip's podcast. So like I said, send us a chat. We can see all the platforms if you send us a message or give us a call. We'd really like to hear your opinion and your thoughts about it. What are you doing, Cousin Skip?
I was responding to somebody's message.
Oh, okay. I thought you were in your research mode, like.
Trill C says mental health issues are not detailed in background checks. I don't know.
And they should be.
I don't know what she means by that. They're not detailed.
When they do background checks, they're not required to check on a person's mental health history.
That's what I didn't think they were.
And they should.
Right. There's another question. Cousin Skip, you want to read that? I don't think I got context and I can't see it.
There are also white rich kids that feel entitled to kill their parents because they got a BMW versus a Mercedes.
You know what? That's funny, but it's true, and that's really sad. But that's happened.
Miss C, put it down. It may be legal in your state, but it's not for everybody. Put it down.
it's a true statement regardless of its rarity. And that particular instance would not be something that would be used to support gun control. Even though, yes, we know that this is true and it happens occasionally from time to time. But the point is, gun violence in this country has become so rampant. People are, they're bored about even hearing about it, Only when a bunch of people get shot up do you begin to hear about it, or when a particular ethnic group is being victimized do you hear about it. But all of the random rampant shootings that go on from day to day, you don't hear about that. If you live in the particular state or the city where it happens, you might hear about it, but it's not a national conversation.
And also, too, what I want to bring up really quickly here, and I'm not going to harp on this, but a quick second, is that I want everybody within the sound of my voice, especially Black people, I want y'all to huddle up and huddle in and listen to this. There's no such thing as Black on Black crime. There's no such thing as Black on Black murder. There's no such thing as that. And I had this talk with Cousin Skip. I probably had it with Nunji. I had it with a lot of other people. There's no such thing. People kill within their vicinity. If I lived in a trailer park and I was white, I might kill Danny that lives in trailer 15 because he's blasting his damn music. Or if I'm Ray, I might kill so-and-so who lives in apartment 15 in a project because he smoked all the weed up. People kill what's around them. And it's very rare you hear about a Black guy going up on Rodeo Drive, killing a whole bunch of white people who are shopping. Very rare. I mean, you that's almost a not going to happen thing. You never hear the Bloods and the Crips are fighting on Rodeo Drive somewhere. You're not going to hear that. Are they downtown in DC and they're fighting or whatever? But you will hear about the insurgency that happened at the U.S. Capitol. So my thing about it is that it is just a dog whistle to say it's Black on Black crime. You know what I mean? It's just a dog whistle so the police can get together and come through the neighborhood and do whatever it is they need to do.
I mean, okay. I think we're so as it relates to mass shootings, though. I don't know, and other than the DC sniper, and there might be some more out there somewhere, we don't hear about African Americans doing mass shootings. I mean, am I wrong? Like, when's the last time you heard about a Black or brown person shooting up a movie theater? Or
that's a very rare activity for Black and brown people. It happens, but it does not happen with near the percentages of young white boys. And this is a young white guy's thing mostly. They don't like what happened to them in school. They don't like how people treated them in school. They don't like this particular ethnic group because they think that particular ethnic group is becoming a problem for them, or which is better known as the browning of America. The browning of America is an extremely serious issue for many white Americans. And some of them are taking it upon themselves to do something about it.
So explain what that is. Before you do that, I think Tracy there's a chat. She said, if you belong to a domestic terrorist group like the Proud Boys or white supremacy groups, that should also be in a background check. Very good point. Very good point. Very good point.
No, that's a negative. That's negative.
It should be. If you look, if you're part of the Proud Boys,
go ahead. If you're gonna say that, then you're gonna say that if you belong to the NAACP or you belong to any of those organizations, they need to be put in there too.
Those are the same thing.
They're not the same thing. They're not the
same kinds of groups.
If you belong to the Black Panthers, so all of my affiliations, everything that I'm affiliated with, I need to put down on the back of my background check, so you can check that out. So you can check me off. Now let me say, each group that I named, all of them, and each group that you named has an FBI file.
Sure.
All of them have an
but
FBI
for different
file.
reasons.
Right.
Maybe
if you are deemed a domestic terrorist,
it may be for different reasons, but they still have a file. And when it comes down to law enforcement and the federal government, yeah, I know they play by two different sets of rules. So I don't even know why she'd even write that, because you put the Proud Boys in it. Because the Ku Klux Klan is the only domestic terrorist organization that we have in this country, that we've had since this country has been built. And
but that doesn't mean they're the only ones.
Hold on for a minute. And nobody has stopped them as of yet. Nobody has stopped. They've been sued for money that they paid. They've been jailed, but nobody has stopped them. And they are a domestic terrorist group.
Well, they haven't been stopped because so many of your well-known people in politics and otherwise belong to it. But that doesn't mean that any known member of any kind of hate group should definitely have a background check done.
Right.
And people who belong to well-known hate groups should not be able to, damn sure shouldn't be able to carry guns in the street.
Right. Mel, that question's for Mel. It says, Mel, who was fighting cops at the Capitol?
Nobody.
Who was fighting cops at the Capitol, Mel? Seriously?
Who was
World
fighting?
War Z, when they was scaling the buildings and stuff like a bunch of zombies on crack? She was saying who, to your point about the domestic, about the FBI file and stuff like that. She's saying who was fighting who was fighting the cops at the Capitol?
No, nobody. It was every man for himself and God for us all.
Okay.
Who
Al-Anon, Proud Boys. They were Proud Boys. What is it? Al-Anon, whatever. What is it called?
Oh, she was talking about who was fighting the police.
Yeah.
Trump's whole clique. Yeah.
The Proud Boys.
Yeah. That whole
QAnon. That's the name. QAnon.
Yeah. So yeah, they were definitely fighting. And not to say that I'm not giving them a pass. I'm just saying that if I have to put together everybody that I associate myself with, every group, they're gonna make that universal for everybody. Then they're not just gonna make it put down if you're a Proud Boys, put down if you're with the Bloods and the Crips, or the Vice Lords, or the Hayes. They're not gonna just do it like that.
So they may not do it like that, but they should do it like that. Anybody known to belong to a gang, a violent group, a hate group, should not be able to bear arms.
Purchase a gun.
They should forfeit their right to carry weapons and to own weapons. If you can't be a productive member of society and put your grievances forward in a civil way and have it done that the ways the laws provide for, you don't have no right to go pick up no arms against the government and say, I'm gonna change this shit myself.
Right.
Right. Nobody should have that right.
You're right. Well, everybody, let's get just joking.
Well, I think that Baldwin said it best when he said, anybody can say, "Give me liberty" or "Give me death," and we're okay with it as long as they're white. But if they're black and they say, "Give me liberty" or "Give me death," first thing they're going to be is like, we got to put this nigger down and put him in his place because he's too far out of his place. He shouldn't be saying that.
I think I'm agree with Cousin Skip. I think across the board, if you have known affiliation with violent cliques, groups, whatever, you should not be able to carry a gun. Now.
Oh, you said you have affiliation. I know a lot of people.
No. Affiliation, like you got a membership. I guess that's probably why I should have put it. You have a membership, not
You
affiliation.
should not be
We
able
all
to
affiliated with
carry,
somebody.
nor should you be able to own a gun.
Right. I mean, because they got stricter laws for driving than they do for gun control.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you can't see, you got to get tested every year. If you can't see, you can't drive.
Right. So,
and the thing about it, we can't have it both ways. We can't want gun control, but we want to caveat who, are now it's like, okay, our rights. Well, I should be able to be a member of whatever I want. Well, you got to pick your poison. What do you want?
exactly.
If somebody's a racist or a Klan
You
member,
can't have everything.
right? If somebody's a racist or a Klan member, what you think? Okay, so what you think their goal is? I mean,
well, their objective is obvious,
right? So, Cousin Skip, back to what you said a little earlier. You said something about it's known as the browning of America. Can you kind of unpack that a little bit? Because some people may not be familiar with what that means, or
it's a very simple concept. The percentage of white Americans versus all other ethnic groups of color, it's diminishing drastically, and it's diminishing fairly quickly. Right now, Hispanics are the largest ethnic group in the country. Well, interracial relationships, that's an enemy of people who have a problem with the browning of America.
But they didn't have a problem when the masters were sneaking in the huts. I don't understand. And the you know what I'm saying? Problem when they were sleeping with the slaves. I don't understand. Why is it a problem now?
Because they were in control and they did not conceive.
Right there. That's the key right there. Because it was okay when, the slave owners were sleeping with the women. Some of the women, the slave owners' wives, were sleeping with the slaves. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't an issue then. So like you said, it was about control. Well, this is the product of you wanting to have control.
Right. And if that baby that was a product of an interracial connection, if the master wanted to take that baby out in the woods and slam his damn head up against the tree, that was his right because he owned that.
Right. So
that's why I'm anymore. People are making choices to interact with other ethnic groups.
Right.
And this is a problem for people who fear going extinct.
Right. But wouldn't they be the cause of their own extinction?
No.
To some degree.
No, you know what? They had a special on TV and I can't think of his name. It was called The Tanning of America. And you guys should
they changed it from browning to tanning?
No, it was called The Tanning of America, and it was by Steve Stout. Steve Stout did a special. It was a 3-piece special, and it might be on Netflix, but it was very, 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 very good. And he covered a lot of bases. You gotta see it. It's a must see. It's called The Tanning of America, and it shows how America's gonna look over the next 5 to 10 years. The way that we're going. So
would you say that is contributing the quote unquote browning of America, the fear of being quote unquote wiped out? Do you think that's the main reason for these mass shootings, huh?
Of course.
It may not be the main reason, but it is a reason.
You know what? Okay. I think that what do you call it? I think social media plays a big role in a lot of these mass shootings because when we were kids and somebody teased you or whatever, you went home at 3 o'clock. But these kids, they got their face down in their phone like this, so they're going back home. and you know the kids are still teething whatever, and they don't know how to turn off their phone, and they don't know how to pretty much deal with that. So, with that being said,
that's the parents' fault. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I know people say, "Oh, kids gonna do what they're gonna do." Well, they're in your house though. Just saying.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, you know, people raise their kids different nowadays. And kids want to fit in. They were in that thing that, you know, I gotta fit in. I gotta be with this group. I gotta be with that group. And you know, I was watching footage program that we're doing now. I was watching where one teacher taught a boy out of killing somebody else. He had brought a shotgun to school, and it was a black gym teacher that talked him out of killing, you know, massive amount of kids, and which was a good thing. And he wound up giving a gun to the teacher.
So
go ahead.
I have a quick question. So in some cases, some of these mass shootings, like for example, in schools, some of the assailants, I guess, reported that they were being bullied. You know what I mean? They were being bullied. That's why they shot up the school. So I know we're touching on from a racial standpoint, but there's that other element too. You know what I mean? And I think it ties into Mel's point about social media. You know what I mean? Kids today don't seem to have any coping skills, right? And they don't have it. I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of them don't have any coping skills, and everything's a crisis. And so their way of retaliating is, I'm just going to shoot everybody because I was bullied. So I think that takes it out of there's a segment that's definitely racially motivated. And then there's that other piece where we're losing a lot of these kids, a lot of these generations, because to Mel's point, they're stuck in social media. Their whole existence is tied up in social media. So when they get to school and have to socialize and problem solve, they can't, you know?
You're never
and then they can't defend themselves.
You're never going to be able to do anything about that random young person who does not feel that he's the equal of his classmates or whatever at school, and his parents own guns. That's something that's just not going to be able to be fixed, you know.
So do you think there needs to be some mental health training in the schools? Because as a teacher, you should, well, I'm not a teacher, but I'm sure there's probably instances where a child is once used to be active and now is despondent, you know what I mean? That's aloof or whatever. So maybe there needs to be, because I think mental health plays a huge part in this, a huge part. And I think since teachers have that first contact, well, not first, but with the kids for a duration of time, maybe there needs to be some mental health training, to kind of spot this. And granted, you're not going to catch everyone, right? But at least I think if you are able to spot it, you can probably, I don't know.
But you know what, though? I'm kind of from the old. Go ahead, Skip. Go ahead.
This 21-year-old man that did the shooting at the King's Supers, okay, he's of Syrian descent. Now, nobody's going to be surprised about the reason why he went and shot up all these people. It's probably going to be the same as all of the other Middle Eastern people who go and shoot up a bunch of people. It's their grievances with countries like these. I don't think anybody's going to be surprised when they finally admit his reasons for doing this. But in America, I don't know how he managed to get a gun. But, a person will always be able to get a gun. That's all the more reason there should be laws, gun control laws, to control how readily guns are available to people who should not have them. Right.
Where did Mel go? He fell off. Okay. So callers, give us a call. The number again is 202-227-6500. Reach us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch under Mel and Nuji with Cousin Skip Podcast. We would love to hear from you. Give us your feedback. What do you think? Do we think we need to change the laws, enforce the laws? Give us a call.
Yeah,
especially gun owners.
Definitely give us a call. But back to the kids, because I remember going to school, and the worst thing that can happen is that teacher sends a letter or she calls your house or whatever, and you you get in you you get in some kind of trouble or something like that. But I think that you would get in trouble, but you would get a spanking and you would come back right the next day. There was no reeling, there was no is something wrong with him, let me talk to him, he's going through this or whatever. It wasn't none of that. You just got toe up and you got sent back. And there were days that your mama used to come up to the school and she was able to give you a whooping in school and get away with it. I remember it. I remember like it was yesterday. I mean, it never happened to me, but I started happening to other kids because I made fun of those kids after it happened. So, with that being said, I understand. You know what I mean? I understand. But nowadays, when you do that, it's abuse. It's mental and it's physical abuse.
Well, and some would argue that when you spank a child, that causes them to be violent, that causes them to be angry. But I don't recall in my generation us blowing up schools and theaters and stuff because we got spanked. Just saying. Right. And my stepfather would say they don't have ADHD, they need an attitude adjustment. You know what I mean? Like, so it's a different generation. And I think, like I said, I think we're doing our children a disservice. We're really doing them a disservice. And I think if we really delve into it and looked at some of the mental health issues that some of these kids are facing, these antisocial behaviors that they're displaying and all these other things, that movie, was it a movie or a show, The Making of a Serial Killer? I'm not saying the kid gonna be a serial killer. But some of them you might want to just say. You might want to
I think a lot of the behavior that comes from privileged children is directly related to the privilege and the latitude that they have in the home. Because once you start telling a child yes, 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 yes for everything, and then you decide one day, oh, it's going to be no today, they have zero understanding of that. You have not prepared them for that, Right.
And that's black or white, because I believe there were twin girls, can't remember the state, but there were twin girls that killed their mom because she wouldn't allow them to do something. And then there was another boy that killed his mom and I think dismembered his mom because she took his PlayStation away. Again, no coping skills.
How do you get to there from getting a PlayStation taken away?
No conflict resolution and no coping skills. So your answer is to kill your mom and decapitate her. That's a mental health thing. That's rage. You know what I mean? Because if you go from a PlayStation to decapitation, it's something. All them synapses aren't firing at the same time. They're just not firing.
It's like the Menendez brothers, the way they killed their parents.
Right. Right.
So it's just
if there is a way to blame a parent for their death in this instance, it might be a reach, but you have to understand that when you allow a child's behavior to become, I'm entitled. Well, when you decide to wake up one day and tell them, no, you're not really entitled anymore, that's something you have to prepare them for. You don't wake up just one day and tell them, well, it's not like that anymore today, because they don't have any understanding. Well, it was like that yesterday and the day before and all the other days before that. What's different about today? That's something you have to prepare children for,
Right.
You can't,
and I think we
decide, well, yes, I've given you your PlayStation the last 364 days. The 365th day, I'm taking it because I've got an attitude of my own today. Well, that's going to engender conflict in itself.
Right. Yeah. And then you send these entitled kids that now are mad because the PlayStation is taken away. You send them to school for the teachers to deal with, and then you have parents saying, well, I'm scared of Johnny or Susie or whoever. Well, you created that monster. I hate to say it that way, but you created that monster. If he doesn't respect you in the home, what are we going to do when he get out? And if you're okay with leaving guns open and leaving guns around, taking little angry Johnny out hunting with a rifle, so now he's, what are you expecting? Like,
but
it might be a sport for you, but Johnny got some mental ill issues. He shouldn't be having a gun.
But I remember my grandmother told me when I had my first daughter, she was just like, be sure you watch the movie Frankenstein. And I was just like, why? She said, because it's okay to build a Frankenstein, but you got to be prepared to deal with them. And she used to tell me all the time, Bela Lugosi built Frankenstein, but he was not prepared to deal with them. That's why
the monster created.
That's why he turned around and killed them in the end, because he was not prepared to deal with what he built. And parents, when you talk to people about their kids, you have to be very, very careful, because people are very touchy about their kids. That's like an insult to them when you say something to them about their kids. That's like it's like, oh, I didn't do my job, or oh, what you saying, or oh, you know what I mean? So it's one of those type of things. And I look back on that, and maybe because I was on my own at such a young age, I think to myself that, damn, everybody should be that way. But everybody's not built like me. Everybody didn't come from the same tree that I came from. You know what I mean? But then again, I'm not gonna have some 40-year-old kids sitting at home, on my couch because they still trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? Or he's a little slow, he can't get together, so he gonna stay here a little while longer. Oh no, he's not. not here. Not here. So and that's just me, and it could be, and women are different when it comes down to it. You know what I mean? Women are different when it comes down to it. And when you got girls, girls get it a little quicker than boys get it, especially when they got a man in their life and they got a man around them. I remember having to pull my daughter to the side and let her know that she wasn't on the 5-year college plan. And we just had that conversation, and it's what it is. But people are scared to say things to their kids nowadays. But hell, you got parents that are living off of their kids nowadays. So it's just like, she better not move out. I ain't going to I'm not going to have my half of the rent. So she can stay and do whatever she want to do. Or she can bring these 3, 4, 5 kids in here. And I'm not going to say this, but there's no way that I can have a daughter or daughters and they got 4 and 5 kids. And I'm sure I love my grandkids, but you're not bringing all them kids to my house and talking about we ain't got no place to stay. You got a place to stay. It just ain't here. It's just not here. I'm just telling you. It's just not here. You're not bringing all that to me. I wasn't there when you made them, and I'm not going to be there when you raising them. It's a different kind of situation now.
I think along the lines of indulging our children, I don't think it's ever a good thing to indulge children or adults for that matter. Indulging people is not the best thing that's for them, because they become to expect that they are going to be indulged when they go to other people's places, homes, and businesses. Well, this is the treatment I get at home. I'm expecting this at your home and everywhere else I go. But,
it's called right of entitlement.
So do you think, like all of which we talked about, so how do we, in your opinion, how does all of that tie together to create what we're now seeing in adults? You know what I'm saying? In terms of this mass shooting. Like, how do you think that ties in? You got the entitled kids that, like you said, after the 332nd time of saying yes, the 333rd time you say no, now Johnny's angry.
You've created.
And if he don't get you when he's a kid, now you raising an angry, bitter adult. So how do we tie that?
You did that though.
Right, but right, as a parent, you did that, but now the community suffers. because now grown Johnny is shooting people up in the spa or shooting people up in the super or going to a theater and shooting people up.
No, grown Johnny isn't doing it. You're doing it.
No, little Johnny's doing it.
No. You're grown Johnny's creator. You're his Bela Lugosi.
Right, but at the end of the day, Johnny still has a choice.
Huh?
At the end of the day, Johnny still has a choice. So right. I get that this is what I think sometimes we set the pace for little deranged Johnny. But once Johnny becomes an adult, he now makes a conscious choice to pick up a rifle, go into a spa, shoot up people or wherever. He makes a conscious choice. So yeah, Johnny may have been abused and all these things that have happened to him. Right. And nobody caught the mental illness or nobody took him under the wing and whatever. But at the end of the day, Johnny went in there and shot those people. So you can't blame the parents for Johnny shooting them. You can blame them for their lack of parenting. But Johnny shot them people.
Right. Right.
What do you think, Cousin Skip? Mel?
Whatever
you're right.
Mel?
Yeah, I'm here.
What did
he just said I think you're right.
Okay. Well, yes. I mean, whether your parents raised you properly or not, you're supposed to see something by the time they let you off the porch to go roam the streets. Right. You're supposed to have some personal abilities of your own to decide what's a right thing and what's a wrong thing.
Right.
When they let you out in the street. You can't be holding parents responsible for all of the activities and actions of your children, even though, regardless how responsible for them they are.
Right. And I think we can't pick and choose who has mental health issues and who doesn't. And that's another thing that happens. And unfortunately, and not in all cases, but in some cases, they're, like Dylan Roth or all these other people, they got mental issues. Like the football player this is not mass shooting, but the football player that beat his girlfriend up. Now he has a mental issue for beating her up. Depending on who it is, there's a mental issue. But if it's somebody else, some people got mental issues. Some people are just thugs.
Just violent, right.
Right. But if you look at it from a broad spectrum, there's a distinct characteristic difference. Distinct.
Sure.
So if it's mental health, let it be mental health across the board, based on the case. But don't, because that person's Black or brown, they're just violent. And this person, because they're not Black or brown, well, they've had a hard, what the sheriff said about the guy that shot people up in the spa, he was having a bad day. Really?
That was a very callous thing to say.
He meant it. He meant that thing. He meant it. And unfortunately,
he was like that. That's my clan brother. He was just having a bad day. That's pretty much what he wanted to say. He just couldn't say it on TV. He just wanted to say, "Yeah, I know his wife and kids, and that's just my clan brother. He's just having a bad day today. That's all that is. Don't worry about
the brazenness of it. It's just brazen to even say that. You know what I'm saying? Brazen. So if that's how you think, and you are in a place of authority, I mean, it's self-explanatory. You know what I'm saying? You can't make this up. It is what it is. So
I will make my last comment on the topic of this show today regarding shootings and gun control and that kind of thing. There needs to be a federal law that crosses all borders of all states regarding gun control. States can't be relied upon to make common sense laws regarding gun control because they make them based upon their ethnic populations, who lives there, what the people do for their livelihood in these states. There has to be some delay in which a person can buy a gun so that the proper kind of background check can be done to assess their violent background or their mental health background.
Right.
And if they have either, I'm not saying that they should be denied it if they have either, but the purchase of that gun sale should be put on hold a little longer
Right.
until both of those two things can be assessed.
And also with mental health, if their mental health has been identified and is being treated, that's different. There are people that with the proper medication, consistent medication or whatever, it's being treated, not somebody that's that's self-treating and self-diagnosing.
Right.
I mean, the military goes through stringent background checks, right? And they're to protect the country. And regular Joe Schmo, depending on what state, you can go on Walmart and buy a gun. Well, I think they took the guns out of Walmart, but you can go on Walmart or a gun shop and you can buy a gun with no background, no nothing. And depending on where you are, if cousin Johnny's uncle is the gun owner, the gun shop owner,
we already know the state of our military regarding their ethnic and racist issues. We already know this.
Yeah. Mel, you got any last words?
I do. I think that we should enforce the laws that we have on the books. I think, like Skip said, I think it should be a universal law all across the land. Like it is for taxes and child support and student loans and all the rest of the stuff. It should be a universal check for everything for everybody. And I think we should go ahead and go that way. And he's right. States cannot do it alone and by themselves. They just can't do it. They're not equipped to do it. They don't have the fundamentals to do it. And they don't have the mental capacity to do it. And my thing about it is that I don't worry about the people who are trying to buy a gun. My worry is about the people who already have the felonies for gun violations and all that type of stuff like that. That's what I got my gun for that Joe Smo. Not for the Joe Smo who, honestly, this going to go in the gun store and he's going to be okay with buying a 357 Magnum. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm okay with that. But I'm not okay with the guy on the street that's going to come up and carjack me with AK-47.
Yeah. I don't understand the reasoning why civilians need assault weapons. I mean,
they're good to have.
Huh?
They're good to have.
Oh, well, I don't see the point. I mean, I don't, because if it's about protecting yourself, that's just my opinion. I don't own a gun, so that may be why, but I don't understand the point of that. But I agree with both of you to, in regards to the universal guns, gun laws, and whatever's on the books, they need to start enforcing it, because I don't know what's on the books, because everybody seems to be having a problem. So I don't know what's on the books.
Don't seem like much is on the books.
Right,
huh?
Exactly.
But it's like, but if my thing about it is that if the crew just got the guns, the honest folks need to have the guns. You know what I mean?
The honest folks aren't the ones. I'm telling you, people that have license to carry guns are not the ones out there shooting folks.
Right.
It's the ones that get access to guns that didn't do what the people with the licensed guns did, and follow the rules, the background check.
Well, the guy that killed Trayvon Martin, he had a legal gun, and he still killed him.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it was just an out of character thing.
Right,
yes,
right.
So that's the person that had been background checked and everything else, and he was legally able to carry a weapon, and he's still trying to kill that young boy for nothing.
Yeah.
My final advice is, if you see a person carrying a gun, give them a lot of space and distance. You don't know what kind of day they're going to be having.
Right.
It would be advisable that you give them a lot of ground.
Right. Now the store you weren't planning on going in to get away from.
Now, what got me was one time I was in Walmart and I saw a guy in a cereal section, and he had a rifle over his shoulder. And my dad was, my dad was with me, and I was like, "Is it really that serious?" You know, the Cocoa Puffs for him to have to bring a rifle to the damn Walmart. You know what I mean? Why would you bring a rifle to the Walmart?
Because he would get them Cocoa Puffs if he had to take them from somebody.
What is threatening in Walmart? There's nothing threatening in Walmart, but he had the rifle over his shoulder, and all I could do was just look and stare. Cause I'm from the north. I ain't never seen nothing like that. Well, I've seen plenty of guns in my life, but I've never seen anything like just walking around, just humdrum like it wasn't nothing to it. I'm just like,
and if somebody pissed them off, you just don't know what they would have ended with. So, so we're gonna wrap it up. We have, as you all know, Mel has a book that's just come out. Well, when did your book come out? It came out a couple months ago, right? When did your book, Mel?
Mine came out latter part of last year.
Okay, so go over to Amazon, Barnes and Noble. You can purchase his book there. Cousin Skip has a couple of short stories that are on Kindle. I have a book coming out soon. So feel free to, we'll keep you updated when things become available. So we're going to wrap it up. Definitely leave us a comment. We'll still be able to get it. We'll still be able to see it. Give us a call, leave us a message. But anyway, we're going to wrap it up, but it was great conversation. Thank you for the comments, for the ones that did write in, send us a little comments. So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Any final words, people?
Thank you to all of the participants who joined us today.
Yes, thank you. And support the broadcast. Hit the subscribe button. Go to our prospective websites. Sign up with us. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and all other platforms you can follow us on. And we'll be doing different things and moving in different directions. We want all y'all to move with us as we go and grow.
Yeah, and definitely let us know if there's a topic you want us to discuss. Just send us a message and we'll get it. Facebook, YouTube, whichever, and and we'll check it out, and maybe your topic will be the next topic of discussion.
Yeah, exactly. And we ain't paying a student loan. We can give child support money. We ain't
anyway. We're gonna get ready.
Statement is check from us. Okay. We're not that group of people. So just letting you know. But call them with your ideas anyway.
All right. See you guys later. Bye.